Shout out to our sponsors. Go to invertedgear.com. Type in the coupon code ShowTheArt15. Save yourself some money. What do they sell, Ames? Tell them.
The freshest in gear, baby. The freshest
What
in
kind of
geese.
Geese.
Sweet geese, sweet rash guards, man. Just belts, just everything, man. What you want? Because they got it.
T-shirts.
That's what they got,
Shorts.
man. Oh, keep bringing it. Yeah. You want socks? They'll probably come up with that down the road.
Hats.
They'll
Done.
come up with, done.
Boom.
Forget about it, man. Type in the code ShowTheArt15 and get yourself some threads, man.
How about if you're interested in coffee?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because I'm just high on some Chimera coffee right now.
Okay.
You know, it's what it's laced with.
What's that?
Deliciousness. You know what else it's laced with?
What?
Creaminess. You know what else it's laced with, brother?
I'm stumped.
New freaking tropics.
Holy crap.
That just gets my mind right to train, baby.
Do it. So go to chimeracoffee.com.
Type in the code.
Show the art and save some money, dog.
And get some good coffee, man.
Yeah.
Treat yourself out.
Yeah,
You
they got
deserve
this new cacao booster.
Ooh,
It's raw
baby.
cacao with L-glutamine.
Ooh,
You know what that stuff
the
does to you?
L-glutes, yeah, man.
Yeah, and some cinnamon.
Ooh,
Boost your coffee
cinnamon?
up. Hell yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
Now we're talking, man.
That's it.
Stop playing.
chimeracoffee.com.
The order.
Boom. Okay, guys, welcome to the Show the Art podcast. Today, our special guests, we have 2-for-1 deal. We have black belt Brandon Mccaghren, brown belt Matt Skaff. How the hell are you guys? Welcome to the show.
Good, man. Doing great. Happy to be with you this morning.
Yeah, man, feeling good.
Matt, I want to get into you real quick because you just competed at our Show the Art Finishers tournament. And there is some questions that people are asking about your performance. You had a great match, but there was some strategy imposed. Can you go a little Can you tell us a little bit about what you were doing when Mike Davila had your back?
Yeah, so I'm gonna lead up to this a little bit. I think like the style we're developing down here in North Alabama is just different. I think we're onto some things. I don't want to say like nobody else is onto, but I just think that we're doing things a little bit differently down here. And so I had shoulder surgery about a year ago.
Okay.
And I had the last competition, so I hadn't competed in over a year. My last competition was actually the first Show the Art when I was a purple belt.
Yes, I remember that.
And so anyways, I say that to say, that really had a big impact on the way I started training, and I've really been focused on learning the art of jiu-jitsu, being relaxed. I think like the gentle art that translates. And to me, that means, effortless jiu-jitsu, because obviously joint locks and chokes aren't gentle. Pressure's not gentle.
Sure.
To me, it's a lot more, it translates to me as, again, the art of jiu-jitsu is supposed to be effortless and efficient. All right. So that's what I tried to show. And so for about 2 months, I've been messing with, escaping rear naked chokes without my hands.
Okay.
And as crazy as that sounds, a lot of people, and I would tell them kind of what I was working on. They thought I was crazy, and I'd get all these messages from guys that I respected, like, well, let me put you in a rear naked choke. And so, the night before the competition, I was in the hotel room by myself, and I was just thinking, I was like, man, I got Mike Davila first round. Dude's a monster.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to let him just start on my back, but I was like, man, like, all I want to do, if I can just showcase what I've been working on, this relaxed jiu-jitsu, you get in the worst possible position, a rear naked choke, and escape without my hands, I think that would really showcase a lot about my style of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, man, I love that. I love that. That's awesome because you're using a platform of competition to validate the techniques you've been working on, and that is the ultimate validation.
Yeah, and guys watch that, so my thing was like, if I made a video and like, hey, this is what I'm doing to escape a rear naked choke, people just go, oh, that would never work in competition.
Exactly.
The guy you're doing it with sucks. He doesn't know how to do rear naked choke. And so to me, it was like, look, you can't say Mike Davila sucks. Like, he's one of the best guys in the world. He's tapped Barrett Yoshida. Like, he's a monster. He got to the semifinals of EBI.
Yeah.
And so, like you said, competition, I think, is where you show the magic, That's where you show, to me, the art, and the best place to show the art.
Ooh, yeah, absolutely, man. And me, I'm a brown belt as well, and I've been training for 9 years, maybe. I lost count, but early on when I first started training and I first started competing, my instructor Marcos, who is still my instructor today, that was the number one thing he would tell me going into competitions as a white blue, even today, is go in there, let's get highlight footage. All the techniques we've been working on, let's try to pull them off. I don't care that you win matches. I want to see you pull off your techniques that you've been drilling. And if you are pulling them off, that means they're working, you've put in the time. And maybe if you had some trouble, it's almost like the ultimate way of seeing what is high percentage and what is not, or what works for you and what does not. So I love that you are doing that, and you're doing it at a high level. This is pro competition. This is not like, backyard brawl type stuff.
Yeah, man, it was really surreal, and so I really felt like that 30 seconds, like you said, that's what I was looking for. It's because I always joke with guys, I'm like, look, man, these competitions, not like if I won the finishers. Again, to me, that's the best tournament, one of the top 5 tournaments out there. You guys just kill it. It's the best.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
In my opinion. It feels like a rap battle, or, it's got this vibe that other places don't have. Even the ADC, I've competed at the ADCC trials before.
Yeah.
And it just, man, the finishers is just, to me, I'll always come back. I'll always try and be in that. But anyways,
thanks,
what I tell guys is, like, it's not like if you win, you get $1 million contract, or there's models on the sideline. And, after you win, like, you got all these girls come up to you. Like, to me, I'm trying to, again, like, those 30 seconds of escaping that rear naked choke, I'm going to remember that till the day I die. That was a surreal moment for me. And that's what I'm looking for when I compete, and looking to kind of inspire and just show something different.
Sure. So real quick, Ames just dropped.
What's going on, fellas?
There he is.
What's up, man?
What's going on, man?
So Ames, we have Matt and Brandon on.
What's up, fellas?
Howdy.
So anyway, Matt was talking about the infamous escaping the rear naked choke without hands that was heard around the world, apparently.
Nice.
I think that should have got more views than that Imanari roll that's been swirling around.
Dude, I feel the exact same way, but like me, I was talking to, Brandon about that. And there's something guys really like about submissions, I think what I did, you can't really see what I did. You know what I'm saying? Like, It's not something that I think you have to really understand jiu-jitsu, because I had a lot of guys come to me like, man, like, that was some Hickson level defense.
Nice.
I had a lot of guys like really high level black belts coming up to me, so that was really crazy too. But again, you can't really see. The Imanari roll is flashy.
Yeah, it's pretty.
People love that stuff,
and it's dope. It is dope. And Marvin, that one that he hit was the fastest one I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like, that was the smoothest example of it I've ever seen.
Sure. And it was very crisp, very clean, very artistic. And it's funny because it was swirling around so much. And, Show the Art, we share people's like videos and stuff like that. He even sent it to me. I didn't share it because it was going around so much. I'm like, this guy doesn't need us right now.
That's true.
It was just, I felt like by the time I reposted it, I would have been like a poser. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, now you guys, I didn't want to.
Now you want to share my good stuff?
Yeah. I felt like he got so much push on it as he should have. But anyway, getting back to the point in hand, I'm all about jiu-jitsu and positions and the finer details and the finer technique. And I feel like at a certain point in your jiu-jitsu training, at a certain level, you start to gain a deeper appreciation from that. So I'd like to ask both of you guys, when did you start having a deeper appreciation for the finer details of technique in jiu-jitsu?
So I guess when I started having a deeper appreciation was not until after my neck surgery. I was lucky enough to get to go to a seminar, though, with Hickson when I was a white belt, white, blue, and at purple belt. So, which was all before my neck surgery. And so he puts a lot of emphasis on the small parts of the moves you already know. Like, you don't go to Hickson seminar to learn new moves. You know? You just learn how to do the ones you know the right way.
For sure.
And so he's all about small details. He wasn't my day-to-day instructor by any means.
Sure.
He wouldn't even know who I was if you asked him. But, that was a big impact on the way I saw the game coming up. And then after I had my neck surgery, Skaff was talking about his labrum tear and repair, how that really changed his style of jiu-jitsu. The same thing happened to me a couple of years earlier with my neck surgery. I had to, decide if I wanted to continue doing jiu-jitsu in the first place, or if I wanted to continue training really, the same way I was training, and I didn't. And so I got, over the years, just gotten better and better at slowing the game down, and playing it at my speed, regardless of the speed you want to play it.
True. Sure. Hello?
Yeah, so I was coming back, so this is kind of a really funny story, and Brandon can definitely, tell you guys that this is true. When I was coming back from the shoulder surgery, I took 6 weeks off, and then I was back on the mats, and I was training through the whole thing, and I rolled with one arm for probably about 3 months, and started training really with two arms back at 6 months. But I was watching Brandon develop this style of jiu-jitsu that was, slow and relaxed. And I'm watching on the sideline, and I'm thinking, man, when I come back, I'm going to kill Brandon. Like, he's not doing real jiu-jitsu. And he would ask me, because he was really diving into this slow style, and I just remember watching him like, man, I'm going to come back and kill Brandon. I'm going to take over the gym, I think. I thought for real, I was going to tap him 3 times when I came back. And,
So you were perched up behind the desk, watching him like a freaking hawk?
Man. Yeah. No, and I was just watching, kind of licking my chops. Man, this is good. Brandon's not getting better.
This guy has no idea what's coming to him.
Yeah, and Brandon would ask me, hey, what do you think about the stuff I'm doing? And I just remember being like, Brandon, if you tried that in competition, that's not going to work on anybody that's better than a pro.
Wow. I figured you would say, nah, Brandon, that's awesome. You guys,
keep it up.
But
no, we have a very, very honest relationship.
But that's not what happened. I came back and Brandon crushed me, effortlessly.
Nice.
He's never felt heavier. He never felt better. And then been training with Daniel O'Brien for the past 7 months. And you watch Daniel, and he looks fake. His jiu-jitsu legit. He looks like the system of guys. He really does. I remember watching Daniel when I first came over there, and he was getting out of rear naked chokes like that. And I remember thinking, I told Brandon, I was like, man, his guys let him out of submissions,
Yeah.
And that's really what got me fascinated with this, is that jiu-jitsu can be so good that it looks fake.
Yeah.
A lot of guys think that some of the stuff we do is fake. So
that's a compliment because it shows the unrealness.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, technique should be effortless, right?
In theory. Yeah. In theory. And it can't. What I'm starting to learn is that it really can be, and that all the things that we know how to do, I don't know that you can learn to play in that slow way, that slow, methodical, connected. I think is the real word. Yeah. That's the word Dixon uses.
Sure, connection.
That's the word that makes the most sense to me. Is use your connection. Weight distribution.
No, and I agree with that, man. And I think what you have to do is dumb down all your attributes. So when you dumb down your speed, your strength, your stamina, not stamina, but speed, strength, all those other attributes, what do we have to increase to gain that?
Dumb down the stamina too, man. You know what I've for the last couple of weeks, what I've had the guys doing after advanced class before we roll, I'm having them run suicides and sprints before we roll. I'm trying to kill them before we roll.
I see. To allow them to open up their technique game and
make them slow down and quit acting like a bunch of Skaff was like, y'all like a bunch of animals out there. You're like artists, you're like animals.
Yeah, true. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but to approach the game in that manner, timing has to be a high priority. Timing and counter striking. Is that what's going on with you? Your timing has increased exponentially, and that's where the difference is lying?
Yes and no. So the timing has increased dramatically, but that's a byproduct of the weight distribution.
Okay.
So once I started figuring out how to look, I'm talking like I got some stuff figured out. I'm not. I don't know nothing, dude. I don't mean to come across that way.
No, yeah.
I'm not. It's just we do things different, so people ask about it.
Yeah, dude. None of us know anything, honestly. At the end of the day.
Yeah, I don't know nothing, man. But as my weight distribution gets better, let me not say as I've figured it out. Let me say as it gets better, my timing gets better in direct correlation.
Gotcha. Okay. Because whenever I think I have to get slower, again, this is the way. I'm a small guy. I'm about 150.
He's not lying.
Soaking wet. On my heavy day, I'm 150. And the one thing that I'm always facing the bigger guys, one thing that Marcos always told me was timing has to be increased. If you want to beat these bigger guys, you have to do the right move at the right time. You have to counter them at the right time. You have to insert your defenses at the right time. And that's where, and if you want to slow down the game against people of your size, that's wherein it lies. Now, you say timing and weight distribution. Was there anything that you had to think of beyond that, maybe as a strategy standpoint, or I don't know, I'm trying to dig deep into
So to me, this is what I break it down, and I think a lot of guys, it's all about fear. That's what I see. Is guys don't realize that how much fear is holding them back, And to me, what's really opened up my game is that I was very honest with myself.
Okay.
That I was afraid to tap. And we all go, no, man, like, I don't care about tapping.
No, I checked my ego, bro.
Yeah, like, for real, like, I'll tap, man. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
But we all have that feeling with there's two guys at the gym will say that we don't want to lose to.
Sure.
There's something about them, that we don't want to lose to them. Or we're visiting a different gym. Or we don't want to compete. And the whole reason, all that stuff, the reason why guys are scared, to me, is there some fear holding them back. Maybe it's letting someone down, but usually it's tapping, And so what I did to really open myself up is I just got tapped by everyone. I used to count my taps. I swear, I used to count taps.
Oh, no.
I'd say there's probably only 3 guys in the gym that had tapped me for like a year period,
Wow.
Like there's only 3 guys in the gym that had tapped me.
Oh, you counted how many times you were getting tapped? Not
I knew everyone that tapped me.
He was complete moron. He was that guy.
I wasn't verbally saying that.
No, but he was keeping a little notch on his bedpost.
Yeah. He carved the names in his bedpost, waiting to
like that Billy Madison.
Yeah.
Steve Buscemi's like writing
his list.
Yeah.
Good thing he apologized.
Yeah.
But for me, that's the first thing that you have to conquer to truly have the effortless style. Because, once you get in that fight, once that bigger guy gets on top of you, if you're not comfortable in that situation, you're going to turn the attributes back on. Whether you believe it or not, you're going to get in that fight mode because, you start to feel that fear. And the first thing to me when you feel fear is, again, you start to, explode. You start to use that strength.
Sure.
Nice.
And I want to bring up a point, too. What you guys are sounding, the way you're talking, I feel like I've been trying to think the same way. And so I kind of have an idea of where you're going with this. But it's refreshing to hear because what happens when people face a situation where maybe I'm not getting better or I want to get better, how do I get better? People start to take the route of not what you're doing, but adding something different. Adding something.
I'm going to get stronger.
Yeah, get stronger. Or add a flashy move. Add a move that, is a card up my sleeve. People won't see this coming. This flying triangle from the butterfly guard. This Kimura trap system that is out of this world. This reverse triangle from No Man's Land. Like, they try to add these other moves. Or let me just get really good at leg locks because a lot of people are weak at them. But instead, you guys are saying it doesn't matter where the game goes. The concept is going to be the same, and I'm going to be ready in every single position. And you're right. Taking away the fear is the only way to start opening up. But also, in order to take away the fear, you need to have the confidence, and I believe in the defense. So
yes, defense is first for sure.
Yeah.
For my style for sure.
Sure. Like when I started probably around purple belt, I started really getting better at defending things, escaping things, and that's when my offense went through the roof. Because now I wasn't worried if somebody put me in any submission, so it allowed me to open up and go for anything. What do you guys think?
Yeah, defense is definitely. I hear a lot of the guys, again like Hickson, they say you got to become untappable, and to me, that's the first. That's at least my first priority is my defense. It's always my defense. And so what I tell the guys, when I tell my students is to me, jiu-jitsu is just connections. So to me, a rear naked choke is the exact same as side control. They're all the exact same. Mm-hmm. And so I want my jiu-jitsu, I look at it like there's two different types. You have system guys that are really training systems, and
which can work super well.
Yes, which will get you high level very fast. But then you have guys that are really, their jiu-jitsu translates everywhere. It's the exact same. You know what I'm saying? They just, and those are to me the guys that can learn a move in a day.
Sure.
Because they really understands that. So I try and tell my guys, like, look, an arm lock escape, to me, all the same principles apply to prying, pressure, and mount. You know what I'm saying? It's just I'm connected, and I feel like I'm going to win those connections. But again, I also am not afraid to tap. So if I don't, then I just tap. And it allows me to really work on, again, putting myself in those arm locks and getting so many more reps on escaping arm locks than the guys that, don't practice that way.
Sure. That's a great point, and people need to understand, too, the way you approach your training that day. It could be broken down in so many different ways. The whole day could be focused on escaping arm bars, so I let people put me in arm bars. Or just that one roll. Or the next roll is all offense, and then the next roll is all defense, and then the next roll is like A-game moves, and then the next roll. So people, I feel like just talking to my students, the more the new guys, they think that it has to be structured the same way the entire class. No. As long as you remember to do it, you can structure each role completely differently with a complete different goal and yield the benefits.
You could do that. So Skaff touched on something that's a big part of my theory of jiu-jitsu, at least, is that whatever the technique is, so he used the example of escaping an arm lock should be done the same way as creating pressure from the mount. And that sounds like two completely different things, and they're not even related. But not only do I believe those two are related, but I also believe that those are related to headlock defense. That they're the same move as headlock defense. They're the same move as leg lock offense, which is the same move as leg lock defense. The game is built on principles, and the principles are simple. Like everybody talks about the fundamentals, and they say, "What are the fundamental moves? What do I need to learn to get my blue belt?" Right. But the fundamentals are not techniques. This is my opinion. The fundamentals are not techniques. The fundamentals are a set of principles and ideas that guide every technique.
Sure.
Right. And so it doesn't even matter what your beginner curriculum is. If you understand jiu-jitsu, you can teach any move through the filter of the principles of weight distribution, balance, leverage, timing, patience, perseverance, self-control. Going back to like when you're a little kid going, patience, perseverance, discipline, throwing a punch every time you say a word, like that's what we're trying to accomplish. And so when I show up to jiu-jitsu, we might be, okay, class, we're here to learn mount escapes tonight. Tonight we're going to learn the bridge and roll. Okay. But really we're just going to learn jiu-jitsu through the filter of the bridge and roll. And regardless of if you ever do a bridge and roll again, I want your jiu-jitsu to have improved because of what you learned about jiu-jitsu through the bridge and roll. Does that make sense?
100%, man. Again, I feel like we train at the same place because, honestly, we've been bred. Me and Ames, we're both students here. I teach here as well, but Marcos has kind of pushed that same concept on us for years. Ames is a blue belt. Ames has been training for 2 years. Ames, please talk about your experience.
What I find really cool about this is how it translates to other things. I come from more of a strength and conditioning, like weightlifting, and the coaches that I have preach the same thing. It's all about the principles because there's techniques will come and go. There's going to be new techniques. There's not one single one that'll win everything. There's different ways to skin a cat, but principles is what's going to be your base, and that's how you're going to explore and learn new things and keep you grounded.
Yeah. Like, I know, how do you guys teach a brand new student? Like, what I teach is all concepts. I don't teach one move. So how do you guys teach a brand new student?
It's tough because in the beginning, to teach you weight distribution and connection and, the things that really matter, it's really, really, really hard to do because you don't even know why we closed the guard in the first place. Why are we on the ground again? So I think you have to, in the beginning, right now, my theory at least, I change my teaching theories a lot. I constantly am trying to grow as a teacher, which means I experiment and fail quite a lot.
Yeah.
With strategies and stuff. So, like Skaff said, I'm not afraid to tap as a teacher sometimes. But anyway, I think in the beginning, right now, I got to teach you a move and try to get you the principle through the move.
Okay.
Right. And in the beginning, you don't understand the principles deep enough.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think you can necessarily. You're just aiming for it. And, you know, and I'm still aiming. I'm trying to grab them myself. I'm still trying to even learn what they are, I think, you know?
Yeah. It's almost like teaching a child, or like
Yeah.
raising a child. Like they don't understand what you're talking about because they're kids. They don't have the experience yet. But you can implant these little Easter eggs in
little
everything that
nuggets.
you say, that will encompass the principle whether they understand it or not. And eventually they start to
They have like
comprehend.
that aha moment. You'll keep dropping those nuggets, and there was a moment for me when I was like, "Oh, this is all the moves," and that's when I started connecting everything. It's just like that moment. It's just like you just keep trying to give them that knowledge and drop small things, and they won't catch it at first, but you just keep going. And
But then when that bastard kid is 17, he's like, "Oh man, Dad was right."
Yep, that kind of thing.
I think I just figured that out like last week.
What?
That my dad was right.
But it's crazy, right? Like
Yeah.
the concept of being someone's instructor,
Yeah.
you're almost being their parent in a sense.
And one of the great feelings too is when they catch it, when you see them realizing it, is a great feeling. It's like, oh, this is why I teach. Like the saddest, like you just feel good when you see someone kind of catching on and progressing forward.
Yeah, for sure. I got one of my blue belts. He's brand new blue belt right now. Just watching. It's like he's just now starting to get it. It's like, and I'm watching him, and he just blue belt. He may be the next purple belt. You know what I mean? Like, it just turned on for him real quick.
It clicked.
Something that I used to say a lot, and I still think this way. I just kind of got out of the habit of saying it.
Okay.
It's when we're learning. So I said in the beginners class, we'll have a lot of always and never. Okay, so I always do this with my hand. I never do this with my head.
Okay.
I never put my arm here. And so in the beginning, you get a lot of that. Just like with my daughter, when she was little, there were rules in place. All right, sweetheart, come on out here. You're little. You're 2. We're going to walk to the mailbox. Look, hold Daddy's hand. We're going to walk to the mailbox. All right, look. Now, look at how we look this way, and we look this way, and we listen for traffic, and always hold Daddy's hand when you cross the street. And then we cross the street, and then we come back, and we learn, always do this. Never cross the street without holding Daddy's hand, right?
Yeah.
But that's not true.
Yes.
Because now she's 8, and she can cross the street without holding my hand.
True.
So we set up, for beginners, I think we need these boundaries like always and never.
Sure.
So you learn the rules, and then at the intermediate level, you learn to start breaking those rules.
Sure. Good point.
And then at the
Good point.
advanced level, you start to learn there were never any rules to begin with.
Yeah.
Wow.
So dope.
That's
There
crazy.
is no spoon.
There is
great.
no, and it's funny because, like you're saying, you have to trust, not trust, but you have to understand that the student won't take it 100% literal. Like their psyche will. You have to trust that they'll realize on their own one day that when my teacher said never, they didn't really mean never. So just like your daughter, when she's 20, is she still gonna hold your hand?
No, man.
No.
She might wait till a car. There's no rules. She might wait till a car shows up and jump out in the street and try to jump it when she goes to the mailbox. I don't know. She's crazy. There's no rules. There's no spoon.
Yeah.
So what I tell guys is I actually approach it a lot differently.
Because he's wrong.
Is to me everything is individually based.
Okay.
No, I'm always. I really repeat myself a lot when I teach. If you come to my class, you're gonna the same things over and over again. But to me, we all have this awakening process, and so whatever happens, how you teach one student is obviously not how you're gonna teach another student. And so I always tell those guys, I tell everyone, look, what I come to find is guys ask me for my opinion all the time, but really what they want is for me to go, hey, you're doing great, buddy.
They want validation.
They want validation.
I
So when
agree.
guys come to me and I go, hey, you really need to be working on this. Hey, stop the leg locks. For instance, hey, stop the leg locks. Really work on your guard passing. I'd say the percentage of students that listen to that is about 5%.
Maybe.
Because,
Yeah.
you know, I always tell guys, like, what happens is that blue belt to me is such a tricky belt. Because in a lot of ways, you are a black belt to the outsider. You know, if a person walks in the first day and they get tapped by the blue belt 6 times and you go, hey, he's a black belt, they're 1,000% going to believe that. Because they first didn't think they could get tapped, and then they got tapped 5 times by a blue belt, which is super common. They're like, man, that guy's a black belt, you know? And so the blue belt, I find a lot of times.
because we do all know gi. So people don't know what rank we are when they
okay, true.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Exactly. Yeah. So
Preface
people always
that.
go- Yeah, so people always go, what belt is that guy? You know, it's always a blue belt. No way, you know.
He can't be.
Like, the blue belts, like,
Impossible.
Man, like, exactly. And so to me, the blue belts are in this tricky thing because they have movements that they get so much validation on. You know, we'll say if 75% of our students are white belts, they can have moves that they get 75% of validation every night that it's working for them.
Okay.
But then they don't evolve. You know, I find that they have a hard time evolving because they go, oh, well, I just beat these 5 guys. Yeah, you know, Skaff and Brandon beat me, but they're better than me.
True.
You know? And so I really just go, hey, man, you need to be thinking about your processes. You need to always be evolving. To me, the game's all about evolving and adapting. And the guys that do that rise to the top the fastest.
How do you get someone to do that? That is just like they're just coming in to train. They don't have time to, or maybe they do have time, but they're not that invested into jiu-jitsu like many others are. How do you push that onto them?
You can't. I mean, you can push it on them, but they're not going to do it. And what I've had to learn over the years is there's no problem with that.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm a crazy person. I'm a psychopath.
Yeah.
Skaff, like this dude sits at the gym all day. He wakes up in the morning and he drives to the gym and he stays here all day and all night, and then he goes back home and does it again tomorrow. Like, he's a psychopath.
Wow.
You're a brown belt. You are mentally afflicted. There's no way a normal person gets a brown belt. You know what I mean?
True.
So not everybody wants to be crazy like us. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, absolutely.
I mean that is the highest of compliments.
Yeah, and I take it as a good compliment.
Now, for the blue belts that do want to evolve, that are hungry for that, what should they be doing? I'm asking for a friend.
So to me, I always tell Brandon, the most important thing, and you said it, it's the fear and the confidence. You've got to believe. I believed at blue belt, you know, and this is a really funny story, but this just shows you kind of what type of person I am. At blue belt, you know, again, I'm a naive blue belt, but somebody asked me because
some could even say a stupid blue belt.
Yeah, I was, like, when guys hear this, they're gonna be like, "This guy is an idiot." But anyway, somebody asked me because I was like really big into I've always been big into defense. Guys have always been like, "Man, your defense is really good." And somebody asked me like, "Hey, do you think Marcelo Garcia could tap you in a 5-minute round?" And I was like, "No, there's no way." You know. And so that's how I view my roles. You know? I don't tell Brandon, I tell Brandon, Brandon, I'm going to be better than you. You know?
Yeah.
I'm going to be better than Brandon. I tell Daniel, I think Daniel's one of the best 25 grapplers in the world. And I tell him, just give me a year or two. I'm going to be better. I go into those roles not expecting to lose. You know what I'm saying?
The confidence.
And to me, that's the biggest thing is you got to have that confidence. I firmly believe I'm getting better every day. Whether that's true or not, I just think having that confidence really skyrockets. You know, if you're going around and you're going, I don't really think I deserve my belt, or, oh, man, I'm going to lose to these guys, you've already lost.
Yeah, it's the mentality.
Yeah.
You've lost as a person.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
If you I don't want to say that's a little harsh.
You son of a, you lost as a person. You're nothing.
But I think that, man, you got to have a little confidence in yourself, or nothing is how you learn anything is how you learn everything. I say it all the time that jiu-jitsu is how we learn. We're learning everything when we're here. We're learning excellence. We're learning mastery. We're not just learning to choke people.
True.
You know what I'm saying? The process that you have to go through to get good at jiu-jitsu teaches you that there's a process to get good at everything. And confidence is a giant, giant part of that.
Yes. Now, let me ask you. How do you guys, besides what you've been talking about, But what are some processes that you guys do on a regular basis to help you get better? I'll tell you one that I do with my instructor. We talk about our roles. We break them down. It doesn't matter if it was with the white belt or the blue belt or the black belt or whoever. We always break down our roles on our ride to get lunch, and we talk about like the transitions, what happened, what we were getting, our feelings. We even shed a tear. We cry a little bit. We hug it out afterwards,
and it feels great.
Yeah, but we break down our roles and we try to figure out what works and what doesn't. What are some things that you guys do?
I'm like what Brandon said. I'm obsessed. Like I can't imagine very many people being more obsessed than me. So like a lot of my processes, I think I remember roles years ago. Like I really think about it that much. So what I do is I always do 3 positives and 1 negative when I get done rolling. I think of 3 positives that happened, like yesterday, for instance. I'm finally hitting this turtle guard sweep that Eduardo Tellez does.
Yeah.
Nice.
And starting to hit it, and I've been working on that for a month, so I'm like super happy about that, And then I think of 1 negative. There's always something that I do in a roll, and it might have been with the white belt I rolled with, or it might be with Daniel, or Brandon. Something happened. I'm like, man, my framing, or the lines in my body, whatever it is, But to me, that always leaves me feeling positive about my training, but also being realistic that there's something I need to work on.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I really preach to guys. Is again, and that's what adds to my confidence.
Dope. I like that.
So that's what I like to do. That's one of the big things that I do.
I like that. I'm gonna try to use that. Anybody else? Brandon?
I don't really think of. I don't like. He was like, I remember what happened in rolls 3 years ago. I don't remember what happened in rolls
2 minutes ago. I was just rolling.
I don't remember what happened in the last roll.
Yeah.
That's the truth. That's honestly the truth.
And that's fine. That's a different route, you're taking.
Yeah. I study a lot of. I used to have. Talk about being obsessed. This is ridiculous, but I used to have a really hard, fast rule all the way until probably the middle of my brown belt. I did this from day 1 till the middle of my brown belt. Monday through Thursday, I had a minimum mandatory
no
2
underwear.
hours of footage study after practice.
Oh, damn.
Oh, wow.
Minimum. So
Of who?
Anything.
Just watch and learn.
Anything I could get on.
Well, Brandon's watched and people hear that, and I think a lot of times exaggerate. Like people exaggerate.
That's not an exaggeration.
Like Brandon can do Eduardo Tellez's first if you just hey, talk about his turtle guard DVD. Like Brandon
I can quote it probably.
Yeah, Brandon can quote the Eduardo Tellez. He can quote the Ryan Hall DVD. That's insane.
Student of the game.
Nice, man.
Yeah, well, I got to be a student of the game because I'm a terrible, terrible, terrible athlete. Terrible.
Who are some of your favorite grapplers?
Me personally?
Yeah.
My man Eddie Bravo at the top. That's who I got all my ranks from. And so he's my master forever, right?
Yeah.
That's the dude that used to get me the most excited about jiu-jitsu.
True.
Right?
Okay.
So I would see the stuff he was doing. I was like, oh my God, I want to be able to do that, And so he's definitely been the number 1 influence on my game over the years. Eddie, it's not like it used to be. Like Eddie doesn't take flack like he used to, right? But it used to be people didn't respect Eddie's jiu-jitsu.
Sure.
But I'm telling you, Eddie Bravo is an unreal jiu-jitsu player. Unreal. So, Eddie's been a big influence. As far as watching competitors, I love Roger Gracie. Right now I'm on a Roger Gracie kick again.
Okay.
Nice.
Marcelo's probably my all-time favorite to watch.
Okay.
I mean, I'll give you standard answers. Because the reason those are standard answers is because they're the right answers. It's Roger.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong.
Marcelo.
Then, what about current people that are competing currently?
Guys, I like to watch.
Well, what I was telling guys is that it's really. I think we're in a really strange point because I'm really getting disinterested in the competition. I used to watch and to me, and some guys are competing so much that it's kind of the UFC. You know what I'm saying? Like how you feel about the UFC. It's there's one on every weekend. And so you just get bored. Are you going to watch UFC tonight? I don't know. I don't have anything better to do.
I personally enjoy it. I couldn't be any happier.
And so I feel that way a lot
He's a
about
hater.
like,
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I feel that way a lot about like, some of the competitors. It's just like I see them all the time now. So I'm like, if you've seen one match from this guy, you've seen a lot of them.
to
Again,
you-
they're exciting and everything, but
Yeah.
you know,
To
it's
you,
like
it's not
Rafa
as
Mendes.
special. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Rafa Mendes barely competes. So like
When
right
he
now,
does, it's like, whoa.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm trying to tune into that Hoffa match, or
Yeah.
you know, and so I think there's something about that, like
like a little bit of the mystery.
yeah, it's like Leandro
Yeah.
Lowe, man. Like again, love him, but he competes so much that it's
Yeah.
like, you know,
But
I'm not tuning in as much.
But Lowe is about to. He just announced he's about to try to make a no-gi run.
Well, it's like when Gary Tonin
That's exciting.
did.
For ADCC, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, it's like when Gary Tonin has his freak matchups, you know, when I say like he does the absolutes, I'm tuning into that because that's
Different.
different.
Yeah,
You know,
gotcha.
Leandro Lowe doing nogi, I'm tuning in because that's different. But when it's
true.
kind of just the same match, you know, like I know this guy's going for leg locks, or I know this is going to be a 20-minute point fest. Like, to me, those are both the same thing. You know what I'm saying? I can watch a match.
That term made me laugh. Point fest.
Yeah. Well, not point
It
fest.
sounds
I love-
kind of
don't
weird.
get me wrong, I love points.
Yeah.
So I train points. Like I really keep that stuff in mind a lot. So I meant like I mean the same thing with the leg locks. I like leg locks, but again, if I know a guy's just going to go out there and do 30 leg locks,
Yeah.
I'm not interested anymore. I
Sure.
was a year ago or 2
Yeah.
years ago, but now I've seen it so
Yeah.
much that like
It's getting boring. Yeah,
it's
case
getting
in
boring.
case in point, I feel the same way about competition lately. About everybody, all the nogi matches. It's a race to the first leg lock. Who's gonna get the first leg
Yeah.
lock? And again, I'm not knocking leg locks. I train leg lock. I train everything. But if two guys were out in competition and it was a race to the first Kimura, I'd be just as bored. Like if it was constantly the same thing, if it was a race to the first takedown and all guys are willing to do is just takedowns, I'd be bored just the same as I would be bored watching guys go for leg locks. The mystery is taken away. It's kind of like you know what to expect. Yeah, the transitions are cool and you know I can appreciate them, but I'm disinterested to even begin to watch.
Well, how many matches do you guys remember from the 2015 ADCC? Right? How many matches like come to your mind compared to some of the past ones?
It was terrible.
Because it was just a wrestling.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just wrestling.
It was
And
terrible.
Again, there's nothing wrong. Like again, those are the best guys in the world. I'm not saying that.
Yeah, but
I'm
the
just saying
rules,
that-
it was the rules that kind of
Yeah,
F with
dictate.
people's brains because, you know, if they pulled guard, they lost a point or something like that. But,
Yeah.
you know, then there was a guy like Lucas Lepre who went into that
Ooh, yeah.
ADCC, and what did he do? I forget who he fought, but he pulled guard on the dude, swept him anyway, and submitted him. And it was like he didn't care whether he lost the point or not. He's like, let me get to my strong point and try to win this match. He did
Yeah.
wind up losing in very impressive fashion, but
Yeah.
but you know, he always puts on a run. Lucas is one of the best out there. I don't care what anybody says.
Dude, I've heard some crazy stories from some of his training partners.
He might be the best.
Yeah.
He's
He might be.
unreal.
Yeah, our instructor
train-
our instructor Marcos was training with him for about 3 years when he was teaching in New York,
Oh, cool.
and all he said was just it's not fun. Just whether it's gi, no gi, the guy's just top game, bottom game. You just can't. It's a movable object. You can't do anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We have a friend named Chris Moriarty. He's a black belt at Alliance HQ,
Mhm.
and
And,
he's not there. He's a doctor now. He's living, I think, in like Miami or something. But
Yeah,
you guys, I'm sure remember Chris. Like
yeah,
he was one of the like American Jiu-Jitsu sensations. You know, like, he was one of the early guys in 2005 or 7.
Yeah.
He was in Abu Dhabi. You know, just really, really kicking tail. And he was saying something like that. He was like, I trained with Lucas every day. And I think only for however many years. And he said, I think I only passed his guard twice.
Yeah, he's like, I mounted him one time. He was saying all that stuff, and it really puts you into perspective.
Because
like,
Chris is insanely good.
insanely
Wow.
incredible.
Yeah.
And a lot of guys say Lucas Lepre is one of the best. I mean, he's the best right now in the world.
yeah,
There's no argument for me if you say that.
yeah.
So.
And if you do have an argument, roll with him.
yeah. I'm not going to be the one to argue.
Yeah.
If I say that.
Yeah, it's funny. I really asked, and I love the answers you guys gave, but I like to ask because it shows me what kind of a grappler you are. If I've never grappled with you, if I've never rolled with you, you know, by seeing who you like, I can kind of tell what I'm getting into or who I'm dealing with. And the fact that you guys are saying that you like only gi guys is throwing me off because I thought you were no gi guys.
Well, we're weird people.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, though. Daniel O'Brien is the best in the world at jiu-jitsu. I firmly believe that. He legitimately doesn't sweat. I've never seen him even sweat during training. He's that good. I mean, he's got kind of that Huron mystique about him, you know, because like I always hear from Huron. I've always been really like trying to figure out, why do people say Huron is the best? Like some people will like put millions of dollars that Huron Gracie is the best grappler alive. And there's something about those guys, like Huron will just like let you put him in an arm lock and he'll just effortlessly get out. And that's kind of the style that Daniel does, you know. He'll just give you an arm lock, anyone. And it's just, it's incredible. I've never felt anything like it.
I mean, that comes from confidence in your defense.
Yeah. Daniel, I mean, I think it'd be easy for me to say he's the best technician in the world that I'm aware of. I mean, I haven't rolled with everybody, of course.
Well, you've never rolled with us.
That's true. That's true.
So hold that.
I never roll with myself. I'm trying to get super fighting.
Roll in the mirror. What the hell? Who said there was somebody in MMA that made a quote about they they haven't fought. They think their biggest challenge would be themselves or something like that. If they was it Anderson Silva that said something like that?
I don't know. I think that's from Mortal Kombat.
Okay, maybe it was Mortal Kombat.
Face yourself.
On that note, guys, we got to run. We got to go teach these classes, train our hearts off. Our little.
Well, you got to teach. I'm watching. I'll be there.
Oh, you're taking class?
Yeah, I'm taking the class, dog.
My man. But guys, we really appreciate this. This was our 100th episode. So.
Oh man!
Dropping
what a great choice by you guys.
I thought you guys knew. You dropped the bomb only now, dog.
I didn't want to set the pace and put any pressure.
You don't want to put that neon belly pressure on them?
I didn't want to put that number 100 pressure. Like, hey guys, this is number 100. You gotta come through with the gems. So the fact that you did, and then I told you it was, I knew what to expect.
Well done, sir.
This could have easily been number 99.5.
It could have, but it's not.
But it's not.
It's not.
It's 100.
No, it was a full episode.
That's it, man.
Nice, man.
But guys,
We did it, Mama.
Mama made it.
We made it.
We did it, Mom.
Guys, thank you so much. Hopefully we can train together one of these days, whether we come down to you or you're in our area and you come train with us. But we really appreciate you coming on the show. And any last words?
Yeah, www.brandonmc.ninja. That's my online training site. All of my classes from here at the Academy, $5 a month.
Nice. Dope.
1 Minute Jiu-Jitsu Hacks on Facebook, right?
Yeah, follow me on Facebook and Instagram, brandonmc.ninja. That's it.
And just huge shout. I mean, I'm so, like, Brandon's website, I'm actually mad that it's $5 a month. Like, I really think he's just so much value in there. I so much respect and love for Brandon. He's like family to me, and he'll always be part of my family. So really love you, man. And yeah, man, thanks for having us on.
For sure, man.
We're gonna hug when we hang up.
Oh, guys, tell people. Brandon, you just said it, but Matt, tell people how they can reach you on Instagram and.
Yeah, at Matt Skaff. Real simple, just at Matt Skaff. Follow me on Facebook. I'm gonna really try and be active this year. I'm fully healthy. I got some cool things coming up.
Boom.
Dope, man.
Yeah.
Shout out to all the competitions out there. Book Matt Skaff in your next tournament. He will not. What's the word I was looking for? Disappoint. There we go.
Disappoint.
It's like not be denied.
He will not be denied.
His jiu-jitsu won't disappoint. He may disappoint as a human, but
He may disappoint Brandon, but he won't. Disappoint.
Other than that, we're good.
And where's your school again? Just shout out your school one more time.
Decatur, Alabama. 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu, Decatur, Alabama.
Bama.
Nice, man.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Over and out.
Peace.
Peace.